It's an honor to be with you. And I'll tell you what, I am so excited about what I'm going to get a chance to share with you right now. This was just a few months ago. I noticed as I was pulling into my driveway that there was this big orange moving truck pulling in next door, which meant brand new neighbors. Now, getting new neighbors is kind of like the adult version of the brand new kid showing up at school. Remember that when you were a kid and a brand new kid would show up at school and you'd be really excited because who knows? Maybe this brand new kid is going to be like your new best friend, or maybe these new neighbors are going to be like my old neighbors who let their pit bull loose constantly in my backyard and then got busted for drug possession. It can kind of go either way, right? But either way that it goes, these new neighbors, the Bible has something to say about it. And here's what it has to say. It says, love your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself. In fact, what's fascinating is this. It's actually found 8 different times in the Bible. Love your neighbor as yourself, 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 love your neighbor as yourself. Not once, not twice, but 8 different times. In fact, love your neighbor as yourself is called the royal law. Now that sounds beautiful. And I'll tell you what, guys, it is when we get it right. But sometimes it's not so easy. Now most of my neighbors have been pretty decent folks. So the real problem isn't just kind of loving my neighbors and it's hard, but the real question is how? That's the one I've always struggled with. How do I love my neighbors? And as a Christ follower, not only how do I love my neighbors, but how do I show them God's love? So I'll tell you what, here's what I want you to do, guys. Right at the start, I want you to write down. And if you need to, just pull out your phone, or if you got a piece of paper and a pen there, or if you want to just keep it in your head, that's fine. But I want all of you to kind of bring to mind a new neighbor. Now, when I say new neighbor, it might literally be somebody in your neighborhood. It might be someone who's new at your workplace. They're in the cubicle near you, or they're at the work site and they're new. Or maybe it's the place where you work out or the place where you hang out, but there's someone new. I want you to think about a new neighbor, all right? Everybody wants you to get one. You got to get one for this to work. All right, get this. And I'll tell you what, this is why I'm so pumped that I get to talk to you men at this No Regrets conference. I remember in college, it was my freshman year, and I had this question that began just to burn inside me, and it was this question of what are you going to trade your life for? Dave, what are you going to trade your life for? Whether it's, 75 years or 85 years, 1 year at a time, or all at once, you have to give your life for something. What are you going to trade your life for? And I remember coming away as a freshman in college, the one thing I wanted to trade my life for, the one thing I wanted to have no regrets about, was that I wanted to love people and I wanted to show God's love to other people. No regrets about that. When it's all said and done, I would say, you know what? Dave was about loving people and showing other people God's love. I wanted to have no regrets. So here's what happened. When I first became a Christ follower, I was so pumped about the love of God and the person of Jesus and how it changed my life. I don't know about you, but I wanted to share with everybody. And I tried. And I was super obnoxious. I remember literally I'd go up to people on the street and I'd say, have you come to the place where you know for certain if you died tonight that you'd go to heaven? What an enjoyable question and first interaction, right? And I would actually go and knock on doors of strangers because that's what I was told I was supposed to do. And I would even ask him, if you were to die tonight and stand before God and he was to ask you, why should I let you in my heaven? What would you say? And here's what I found. I found that in all my enthusiasm of trying to love people and show people God's love, I was actually asking questions that they had no interest in answering, and I was answering questions that they weren't asking. And bottom line, in all my enthusiasm and all my talking, it did not work. They didn't feel loved. And I came away with a lot of regrets. So fast forward, I become a pastor. I become a pastor, and that experience was so negative and so shaped me that I said, okay, you know what, forget it. I'm not going to use words. I'm just going to show people by how I live my life. How I live my life. The end result over the next several years, the people in my neighborhood, they saw how I lived my life, and they thought I was a good guy. They thought I was a good neighbor. But no one came to know Jesus. No one came to know the love of God. And still regrets. And I knew there had to be a better way. And honestly, as a pastor, I wanted it, yes, for me, but I also wanted it for the people in my church. There had to be a better way. Now for some time, I was familiar with what I call God's blessing strategy. God's blessing strategy for reaching the world. It's in Genesis chapter 12. And if you have your Bibles, you can kind of turn there. It's in verses 2 and 3. And it simply says this. It says, I will bless you. This is God speaking to Abraham. I will bless you. I'll make your name great. And you're going to be a blessing. And all the people of the earth are going to be blessed through you. And basically what God was saying to Abraham is, listen, I'm going to bless you, and then you're going to bless the rest of the world. That's how it works. Blessed to be a blessing. And I always thought of that as more of a kind of pithy saying. Something you'd see on a bumper sticker or a refrigerator magnet, or maybe, crocheted into my grandmother's pillow on our couch. But I remember the moment that I realized this Genesis 12, this blessing, was actually a strategy for how to live a no-regrets life of how to love my neighbor. And maybe if we all did it, even change the world. And that's what motivated me to actually write this book. And actually, it's the content of this book and my experience I'm going to share with you. That's why I'm so excited to be with all of you guys.